Scream 2 is a 1997 horror slasher directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson, starring Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. As Sydney acclimates to college life, someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings. Paramount presents this film with a new 4K restoration with Dolby Vision and HDR10. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at Scream 2 on 4K, the latest release from Paramount, and I am so excited to talk about this one. Of course, they did Scream on 4K last October. Now they're doing Scream 2, and I was just really excited when this one was announced because I didn't know if they would do the sequels in 4K. Now it looks like they're going to do 3 as well next year, so very excited to talk about this one. It is one of my favorites of the franchise, but before we get into it, I need you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do 4K and Blu-ray reviews on here. I do unboxing videos, collection hauls, just everything physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays. If you like that kind of stuff, you like owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, be sure to turn on those bell notifications. Like this video, guys. Definitely like this video. Liking videos is severely underrated, and I really need you to do it. And then comment down below, what's your thoughts on Scream 2? There's almost 6 Scream movies by now. Where does this rank for you in the franchise? And then also let me know if you bought this, if you're gonna purchase it based on my recommendation. Of course, I got the Steelbook version. There is also a slipcover version. I will link both of those down below if you want to purchase it based on my recommendation. I'm pretty sure you can get the Steelbook. Actually, I know you can get the Steelbook because I got it from Amazon, so it's not a Best Buy exclusive or anything like that. Yeah, Scream 2, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the movie first. I like talking about the movie, and then we're going to get into the transfer. We're going to get into special features, sound, packaging, all that good stuff. I'll probably do a little Steelbook unboxing at the end, but getting into Scream 2, so this is the second film of the Scream franchise, directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, so the same creative team came together again to do this one. I saw Scream 2 in the theaters, and man, what an experience that was. Like, there's so many like big shocking moments in this movie, and I just remember like all the gasps, and people were like screaming and going crazy over this movie in the theaters. It was absolutely insane. So one of my favorite theatrical experiences was seeing Scream 2 in the theaters. Now, growing up, when I think about the Scream franchise, it's hard to go against the first one as to which one's your favorites. Like, that one's just like too classic. That really just invented and created this new era of slashers, this almost like meta, self-referential, all revolving around a mystery, like who's the killer, almost like a whodunit. And it was just that there are horror movies before Scream and there are horror movies after Scream. It really just put a jolt in the genre like no movie had done since the 80s. Like, because like in the early 90s, like horror was alive in a sense, but it wasn't like the most popular thing in the world. So Scream kind of brought that back. And Scream 2, they just capitalized off the success of that and did it again 1 year later. Very impressive, the turnaround from Scream 1 to Scream 2. So I've always loved Scream 2, and again, when I think about the first one, it is iconic, but as I grow older, I don't know, I just feel like I enjoy watching the second one a lot more. It ups the ante in every conceivable way. Like, the kills are much more elaborate. Like, even Jamie Kennedy, Randy talks about it. Like, I always remember that preview as well with him and David Arquette, because that was the first preview for Scream 2 that they ever showed on TV, was the David Arquette and Jamie Kennedy sitting in that diner talking about it, and just Jamie Kennedy talking about the deaths being more elaborate and everything's bigger and better and badder in the sequels, and then they would cut to like the scenes in the movie. I always remember that trailer, and it's really true with this movie, and it sets you up because you have all of these like preconceived notions from the first film, like how things are going to go. Like the boyfriend, they make him like super suspicious, played by Jerry O'Connell in this movie, throughout the whole movie. So it sets you up to think that, you know, the same kind of stuff's going to happen, and then it just throws a curveball at you and just all different stuff happens. So I love the layout of this movie. I just love how big it is. I love the kills. It just feels a lot grander than the first one. There is a very shocking moment. I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe you haven't seen the Scream franchise. I think you should if you haven't. There's a big shocking moment involving one of the main characters in the middle of this movie in broad daylight. And I remember seeing that scene in the theaters. There were people crying in the theaters watching that scene with this character death. And I will always remember that. You got Neve Campbell as Sydney. Like, she's iconic at this point. Like, there is no other final girl in any horror franchise is tied to their friend. Not even Jamie Lee Curtis to Halloween is tied to their franchise like Neve Campbell Sydney. Like, she is the through line in this franchise. She is in every single movie, and she's fantastic. She's definitely a little wiser in this one, not as naive as she was in the first film. But she also still has a little bit of that inexperience. Like, she makes mistakes throughout the film, but and I feel like she'll learn from those and definitely get a lot smarter in the next two movies and even the fifth one as well. But she's still great. Neve Campbell is iconic as Sydney for sure. I love the opening in this film. You know, say what you want about her now with the whole Will Smith slapping thing, but Jada Pinkett Smith in the beginning of this movie, I've always loved the opening with her and Omar Epps in the movie theater. That's just been one of my favorites. A controversial take, I like that one better than the Drew Barrymore opening, and I know a lot of people would not agree with that, but that's my favorite opening of the Scream franchise. But yeah, just great kills. I like the story. I like the college campus setting in this one. I like all the characters. I love Timothy Olyphant's in this movie. I love his character. You got Sarah Michelle Gellar in this film, who was also in I Know What You Did Last Summer the very same year. Both of these movies are in 1997, both celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. I think that Scream 2 is actually my favorite in this entire franchise. That's why I was so excited for this one to get a 4K. So, but yeah, Scream 2, I'll give this movie a 4 out of a 5. I really enjoy Scream 2. I always have. Now let's get into the 4K transfer of this, because I think Paramount did a fantastic job on this release. This is a native 4K transfer with Dolby Vision and HDR10. Now, what I will say is I just reviewed I Know What You Did Last Summer. That came out in the exact same year. I don't feel like this one was as strong as I Know What You Did Last Summer. I just like the way that they did that one a little bit better, a little bit more naturalistic, not as poppy or as showy as I think that Scream 2 is. But man, did this look really great. And I actually think it looked better than Scream last year. Again, I feel like this one has a little bit more opportunity to shine than the first Scream as well. But yeah, this is the first time that I've watched this film in Blu-ray or 4K. The last time I watched Scream 2, well, I've seen it on VOD. I've seen it on VOD and Netflix, I think, but I have not watched an actual physical copy of Scream 2 since DVD. I actually still own the DVD. So this was a significant improvement over the DVD that I have in my collection for sure, but I actually did pop in the Blu-ray as well. And it's like night and day. Like, if you own this on Blu-ray, like, the Blu-ray looks fine. It looks fine. I'm not going to say it doesn't look fine, but when you watch this on 4K, you will never want to watch this movie in any other format ever again. It looks so incredible. The theater opening alone, which I was really hoping was going to shine like I wanted it to, absolutely fantastic. First off, you open up with that shot of the outside of the theater, and then Jada and Omar Epps walking up to it, close up on their faces, and you can see every single detail. And I'm just like, man, we are in for a great 4K transfer right there. Just the skin tones and just the complexion and just the way it looked, you can just see everything with a good 4K transfer. Just all the pores, all the little like wrinkles and imperfections and everything. It looked amazing. But yeah, the theater opening was fantastic. Like, Ghostface just sitting next to Jada when he starts stabbing her. She gets up. You can see everybody in the background. Just the scope and the way that they show off the theater, and everybody's got the glow sticks and they're all wearing the ghost mask. It's all so incredibly detailed. You can see every single detail of every single extra in the background that's wearing the ghost face mask and all the glow sticks and everything. And then she's walking up to the theater, and just the contrast with her and the theater screen in the background, it all looked amazing, like I was hoping it would. So definitely a standout scene there. But yeah, the facial clarity just looks spectacular. You have never seen any of these characters like this before. Like, when they first show Neve Campbell, like, it looks excellent. They're showing her, and the paint on the walls in the background. It's also vibrant and colorful. Lots of blood and gore in this movie that really shines in that HDR, and also Dolby Vision as well, because that Dolby Vision just really enhances the color palette. Colors overall look amazing, extremely vibrant. The scene with Sydney and her friend, and I'm trying to pick out scenes that just I took notes as I was watching. I'm trying to pick out scenes, that just really stood out to me. So the scene where they're in the car and they're being transported by the guards, Sydney's guards, that she gets throughout the movie. And her friend gets out of the car. She's standing at the other side of the road. There's a bunch of traffic cones and everything. There's like construction site going on, and it kind of cuts back and forth between them. But the signs and the traffic cones behind her, like, you could all the colors were just so incredibly vibrant. It's just such a rich environment, and it's so well lit. Like, and again, we've talked about this before with the Friday the 13th 4K, how dark it was. This is so well lit. You can see everything. There's such incredible detail, and it's just absolutely spectacular. Sydney's wearing this like brown leather jacket with like this dark green shirt on throughout the movie. That looked absolutely spectacular. You can see every detail of her leather jacket. I just cannot overemphasize. And again, I did pop in the Blu-ray, and to be completely honest, guys, if you bought the Blu-ray and you're like, I'm good with the Blu-ray, that's fine. If you're not as concerned with having the best picture quality, that's fine. It's all in your personal preference. But I can tell you right now, compared to this 4K, that Blu-ray looks like dog shit. I'm sorry, it does not look good at all when you compare it to this 4K. So they really did a spectacular job of this 4K restoration. I gotta give it to Paramount on that. And getting into the audio, this is a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. So no Dolby Atmos. I know there's some people that's gonna be disappointed in this. I don't think the first Scream had that as well. I don't really think it needs it, but again, I'm sure there's some Atmos junkies out there that want everything in Dolby Atmos. Now, I just got a new sound system. I got a sound bar with a subwoofer, and it's a 5.1.3 sound bar that is capable of doing simulating Dolby Atmos. But again, I didn't feel like it was a big deal that it didn't have it. I thought everything sounded great. The actual knife stabs in the Scream franchise are always just so pronounced. It just feels more like visceral and just in your face, just more like punchy. Like every time they do a knife stab in the Scream franchise, I feel like they just like overemphasize it, and you can just like really hear it and just feel it, almost feel the stab in these movies. And you could actually, like through my subwoofer and soundbar, like when they did those stabs, I felt it in my chest. I don't know. And again, I had this volume up pretty loud, but that definitely added to the effect, the immersive effect of this movie. There's also a lot of scenes in this movie where people are like throwing each other around or like knocking on doors and walls and glass walls. The scene with Gale and Dewey reviewing the tapes in that like auditorium. There's like a scene where Dewey's just like banging on the glass, and you could hear all that through the subwoofer. It sounded absolutely fantastic. You know, and there's also some shootout scenes, like with some guns and gunplay and gunfire and stuff. All that sounded great. So I thought that this sounded wonderful. I thought they did a great job on the sound. Now, getting into this is going to be a little bit of a negative here. We're going to talk about the special features. And look, this is the 25th anniversary of Scream 2. Now, there are no new special features with this release. There is an audio commentary with Wes Craven, I'm pretty sure, and some of the other people involved in the film, and that is on the 4K. That's on the 4K and the Blu-ray, so it's nice that they got that on the 4K. None of the special features are on the 4K, but on the Blu-ray, you have all the older special features that were on the previous Blu-ray release, because I'm pretty sure it's the exact same disc from the previous Blu-ray release. As a matter of fact, I'm almost like 100% it's the exact same disc, because it says Lionsgate when you boot it up, and that was back when Lionsgate owned the distribution rights to the Scream franchise. Now Paramount owns the distribution rights to the Scream franchise, and that's why they put out this 4K. And again, it's nice that they include the special features on this release, but it's like, come on guys, it's the 25th anniversary. You couldn't add anything new. And this is where I think a lot of these studios are really falling behind. And if they want to start competing with some of these other boutique labels and stuff, or even Sony at this point, like what Sony did with Fright Night, that needs to be the model. That needs to be the template going forward for all of the studios and their 25th anniversary 4K editions or 30th anniversary, all of their anniversary editions, or whenever they put a new 4K out. That needs to be the template going forward. We need new special features in these sets. These old 10, 15-year-old special features are just not cutting it anymore with these new 4Ks. We need new special features. So I have to mark that against the Scream 2. Again, most people are just buying this for the 4K transfer, but if you want that little something extra to entice people to buy these new releases, like if they're not as into the new 4K restorations and the new upgrades, and they don't care as much about picture quality, give them something else that might spark or pique their interest, and you might sell a few more copies of this. And I don't really think it takes a whole lot. Like, just do a couple of Zoom calls with some of the actors. Like, it's not really that. Do another audio commentary. How hard is that? How expensive is that? And I think that you'll definitely make your return on that investment with the sales for these releases. So definitely got to mark it down for the lack of special features or new special features in this release. Now, getting into this packaging, I absolutely love this steelbook. Such a fantastic steelbook. I love the reverse on the end. Hello, Sydney, remember me. That's freaking awesome. But I'll show right down there at the bottom, you got some stuff. You got the Paramount logo, you got the Miramax logo. as well. But yeah, I just love this, the ghost face with the theater on the bottom. I think it's just fantastic. I love the logo for Scream 2, especially in the beginning where they pop it up and they do the Scream slash down there. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Open this up, generic discard on the inside. I'll go ahead and show you the back again too, so you can see this in all of its glory. Go ahead and pop these discs out. And again, I did an unboxing of this already on my channel, but I'll show this off anyway. But you got, I think that's Jada and Nev Campbell right there. You got both of them with their eyes popping out. But yeah, guys, at the end of the day, I have to recommend that you own this and add it to your collection. It's not the highest recommendation because of those lack of special features, but it's still a pretty damn good release by Paramount. So appreciate you guys watching this review of Scream 2 on 4K. Definitely in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on this movie and this 4K release, or if you're gonna purchase it based on my recommendation. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video, turn on those bell notifications, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.